Okie dokie. So right now, I'm going to be covering how to compile a series of images here in After Effects and then bring them into Adobe Media Encoder and shrink down the file size. So to do that, we need to go to File, Import, File, not multiple files, just single file. And then we're going to navigate to the particular file. Hopefully you know where you put yours. That's always a good thing to remember. Now whenever I select the files, it automatically detects a sequence of files present, and also the file type. Okay, so all I have to do is select the first one, then hit Open. And right now I get this error saying that I have 11 missing frames in the sequence. Here I have a little pop-up saying I have an unlabeled alpha channel. Okay, this is simply the fact that I'm using a Targa and I haven't specified what the alpha channel is for, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. So the easiest way to create a composition here, okay, which is what we will need before we can compile everything, is to take the name of the files and drag it down onto the composition button. Kind of looks like a very geometric Mickey Mouse button. Okay, now we have our composition with the files in the composition. We can grab the time slider and slide it back and forth to see a quick playthrough of it, but it won't be fully compiled until we actually render it. Our next goal should be rendering now. Easiest way to get there is going to be Composition, Add to Render Queue. So this will pop up the render queue down at the bottom, where we have some default settings already, which are pretty good to start with anyways. Then all we need to do is set the output. Okay, so right where it says not yet specified, we go to a location to save it. Then I'm going to hit render. So now that we render it, it'll take it some time, but here I will invoke a time warp to speed things along here in a bit. So, and time warp. Okie dokie. So now that we have it finished, okay, I'm going to minimize everything and take a look at it on the desktop. Where now that I play it, it's a little jumpy, but part of that's because I'm streaming this video at the same time. And also it takes a little time to buffer it as well. Now, about the biggest problem here, though, is going to be the fact that this is a huge file. Since I rendered it out in 1080p HD, okay, if we right-click on it and look at its properties, okay, so it is 2.7 gigabytes. That is huge. Okie dokie. So I will need to compress it. I'm going to pull up Adobe Media Encoder. In order to use it, I'm just going to click and drag my file from the desktop into the open queue. Then I'm going to click on the preset here and change its settings. So first thing I'm going to do is change the format. Okay. Then I'm going to make sure export video is checked. Then I'm going to choose a preset that'll fit the size of the images, which this is in 1080p. Okay, so it's pretty big. Then I'm going to hit OK. You can change additional options in there if you need to, for like if you have odd sizes or anything on your images. Then I'm going to hit the start button up here. It looks like a green play button. And then invoke another time warp. And there I have another video, which we can see on the desktop. Okay. This one, if I look at its properties, says 32.4 megabytes. So we went from 2.7 gig to 32.4 meg. Not quite 100th of its size, but it's considerably smaller. And it should play a bit smoother too. Okay. So that is a simple but quick method of compiling images and condensing them in After Effects and Media Encoder.